Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And today we're going to discuss with you a very sensitive subject. Many of you have family, loved ones out there that have had this experience, and you're hoping to avoid it as well because of watching them. It is called Hope for Alzheimer's and Dementia. And Dr. Lewis is going to discuss with us today many ways that we can start recognizing if we're headed towards one of these terrible diseases down the road, natural products that we can do and supplementation that could help slow it down. And I don't know about reversing it. He's going to talk to us about that also. And we have lots and lots of questions to get to that you guys have been kind enough to send to us, and we're going to make sure we try to answer as many of those as we can, as long as we can remember, right?
Yeah.
With that being said, Dr. Lewis, can you tell us exactly what you want to tell people today about Alzheimer's and dementia and give them some hope?
Yeah, I always write about 2 or 3 hours worth of notes and bullet points for this 30-minute show, so please forgive me for not getting around to everything. First of all, it's a very devastating disease, and mark my words, what you're going to see in the very near future, like in 10, 15, 20 years, is we're going to lose a great amount of America's workforce because you know how wonderful insurance companies are. They're going to say, well, we're going to quit covering this and this and this and this, and so you're going to have to take one of the two workers from your house, the male or the female, to stay at home, take care of mom or dad with dementia, Alzheimer's. So that's going to really hurt America's workforce. The time to treat something, I'm a chiropractor. We can't treat anything with supplements, but where did we lose our faith in God to realize that, if you put in something really, really good, your body's going to work with it and do good with it. So the time to deal with it is before you get it. Now, I saw dementia / Alzheimer's, and you need to go to a neurologist if you suspect you have this. I love our medical profession, and you should be doing our program also, in addition to. Well, I saw it coming in my mother when she was in her, mid-60s, and my brother and I, Dr. James Lewis, who's an incredibly brilliant chiropractor too, we started giving my mother lots and lots of stuff, and she was a willing participant, and we put off dementia / Alzheimer's until it didn't really kick her butt until she got around 88 to 92. At 92, it really got her. But that's better than letting it progress in her mid-60s and have her and take her down that terrible road when she's 70. So we put it off about 25 years. Here's the problem. And again, I'm not anti-medical. I go to medical doctors. I love medical doctors. I have the greatest respect for their knowledge and their commitment to helping people get well. But there was an article in the paper the other day that says drugs fail to slow decline in inherited Alzheimer's disease. Now, inherited would imply that it's genetic, but as you know, if you've listened to me, there's so many of our genes that will not express bad things if you get rid of environmental toxins and increase nutrients. And, to a thinking man or woman, you say, well, if you increase nutrients, you're going to automatically detox. Bingo, you just won the prize. That's true. So that article talked about the failed drugs fail to prevent or slow the mental decline. They were trying to remove harmful protein that builds up in the brains of these people, leading to, bad dementia. The problem with that is, and I'm not anti-drug, but it's like you've got 80 holes in your roof and it's about to come a thunderstorm, and you're trying to patch one. That's what you're doing with a drug. You're not getting to the underlying cause.
Well, you talked about your mother going into that at a later stage. I remember her being much younger, and we thought she was going into dementia and Alzheimer's, and they had just put her on an acid reducer. Isn't that right? I forgot that story, which is one of the signs of dementia or Alzheimer's, but sometimes it's just stress. My sister called me and says, Stephen, my mama, mama's making coffee with no water in the pot. She's trying to turn on the gas stove, can't get it going. And she's looking in the mirror and talking to herself, thinking she's talking to someone else. And she's urinating freely and cannot have a bowel movement.
I said, oh, good Lord, I'm booked up. And I said, oh, never mind, I'll cancel everybody on the books. And I went to see her. Well, they just put her on a new acid reducer. And not that those things aren't sometimes necessary and appropriate, but I said, well, she's not going to get any B12, out of her meat. And we'll get further into that during the questions. But I said, if you've got to take it for feeling good, I understand that. And I gave her medical doctor all the research about, B12 deficiency and how that can decrease brain function. And I said, at the very least, please give her a shot every week. Well, her cute little MD, she, I guess, got offended. She wouldn't do it. And it's like, so I had to put Mom on massive doses of B12. You can't put somebody on the RDA because you're not going to absorb it. You got to put them on massive doses, and it's got to be the good stuff. And she popped out of it in about 2 or 3 weeks. She's a brand new woman.
And that was many years before she actually did develop dementia. So sometimes it can be drug-induced, and you think that they're going down this slippery slope, and it's something they're taking. And blood pressure medicine's another one that does that. It'll make them be like they're somewhere else. Yeah. We've had them walk in our office that way, and they don't know what's going on, and it turned out to be their blood pressure medication. So it could be several.
It could be statin drugs. We see that very, very often. And again, I don't interfere with medical, what they do. I said, well, talk to your MD about this. Here's the book. Here's the research. Read that. One of the worst insults from a hormonal point of view is one of the worst insults to the brain is stress, because then your adrenals get stressed. They release cortisol. We see people with super duper high cortisol, then it eventually gets fatigued and wears out, craps out, and goes down to, we had one in here yesterday that had a 5 on his cortisol. So, well, no wonder you feel like heck, and you have anxiety on top of that, and you can't remember. And he runs a multi-million-dollar business. This has a very bad effect on the hypothalamus, and there's somewhere in my notes, God, I hope we get to it. I'll just mention it now. You have to feed the hippocampus. That's not a college for hippos. That's part of your brain. And I did a little research. There's a specific type. We always sell the methyl B12, the good stuff, but there is only one company I know of that makes folinic acid. And I told Janet, I said, I know. I keep asking you to buy all these supplements. I started remembering things. I remembered the code to our condo in Branson from months before, and went on and on and on. It's called TMG, which is trimethylglycine, which is a major methyl donor, which means major detoxification, but it has a folinic acid which feeds the hippocampus, which helps tremendously with short-term energy. So for those of you that walk into the next room and have a senior moment, because we laugh about it, because it's easier to laugh about it than saying, oh crap, TMG.
Or you have to strategically place all of your items so you can see them again when you get in the room. That's a huge one.
I have 12 flashlights hanging around because I forgot where I left the last 7. But I've always got one somewhere, except they migrate like wildebeest. They may all be in the RV, and I have to bring them back into the house. But so stress, you've got to deal with that. Hypomethylation, which is lack of B complex, and I've got notes here somewhere about it's B12, it's B6, it has to be the activated B6, it has to be the 5-MTHF, metfolin or quatropholic, plus that folinic acid is a little bit different than the folic, so you've got to be very, very careful. Janet, can you hand me the one over there, that bottle that says Omega?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you, folks. One of my patients came in the other day, and she says, well, I'm taking this. This is from a famous doctor. And my omegas, which is very, very incredibly important, critical for good brain function, mine, one gel cap has several times more EPA and DHA than this omega from a famous doctor. But this famous doctor put in B12 as cyanocobalamin. If it says cyanocobalamin, it is junk. Throw it away. I don't care if it comes from a famous doctor. And then, he put in some other cheap stuff. It's not good just because it comes from a famous doctor. He put in folate instead of the 5-MTHF.
That is sad, because there's a lot of times that you'll have these world-renowned doctors, and then just to make more money off of it, they'll cut corners on the ingredients in it so there's more of a profit.
Of course, we hear this from the big dogs out of the really premier supplement manufacturers, and they'll say, well, yeah, Dr. So-and-so, he used to use our stuff, which is the best of the best of the best, what we sell, and then they quit, and they went to this other company where they barely sprinkle a little bit of the real good stuff in so they can put it on the label, but it's kind of like taking a woman home and she takes off all her makeup. Anyway, there's not truth in advertising. Be careful what you fall for. Yeah, I got the stink eye on that one.
So, or like when a man wears a hat and you assume he has a full head of hair until he takes it off.
Well, that hurt, honey.
Okay.
So
it works both ways.
Let me talk about some of the causes of Alzheimer/dementia. And it's really and truly, it's a protective response to 3 different processes. Inflammation. Hey, that goes with every symptom and disease process. It goes with suboptimal levels of nutrients. So does everything else. It has to do with other synapse supporting molecules. And the third is toxic exposure. Folks, it's all inflammation, oxidation, and lack of nutrients.
And there are some key symptoms to start noticing that you may be developing Alzheimer type symptoms. Some of them are like poor judgment in decision making.
That's how I got old and wise, because I was young and stupid, so I protest.
Inability to manage a budget.
Whoops.
I do that really well, and I don't.
She gives me an allowance.
Yeah, and it's not because he has dementia; it's just because I take care of him.
I blow it on things that make me. Well, never mind. Stupid stuff.
Missing a monthly payment. So these are big things. Losing track of the date or season. I'll have to admit that I don't. Half the time I'm like, oh, it's another year here. But
I think it's 1973. Yeah. I'm one of these strange end time people. I don't do out of time. I don't know dates of anything much.
Forget which day it is and remember it later. You have trouble having a conversation. You sometimes forget which word to use. You misplace things and being unable to retrace your steps to find them. And losing things from time to time. Some of this stuff I get. I mean, it's
everyday life and too much stress.
Yeah, it is.
How do you know the difference?
And some of it, for me, I noticed that it started really getting bad after I had a hysterectomy. And I know you talked a little bit about hormone imbalances or changes that can actually cause that as well, right?
Absolutely.
And so when someone has or gone through that kind of thing, what beside the folinic acid you mentioned, what else do you recommend for someone to take to try to bring some of that back?
Well, and again, it's much better to do it beforehand. And if these disease processes don't show up, how do you know you prevented them? Well, you don't, because, according to FDA, we can't make any claims. We have something called optimum memory. It has the ginkgo. It has the glycosides. It has something called vinpocetine. It has huperzine alkaloids, which mostly is used more over in the Orient than here, but it's really good product. The Omega Supreme, which is super duper, oh my God, high in the EPA, DHA. I won't make that comparison with this world famous doctor's crappy omegas. But just trust me, it's good. Now, listen closely, people. You want something that's really kick butt and inexpensive. Good. Write this down. It's called B12 Folate Plus. Oh, my God. It's got the activated B6. Just a quick thing on B6. If you don't have enough, well, let's just say if you get enough of it, you have a great deal more energy. But that's the one that helps the neurotransmitters, or the happy hormones, cross from the gut to the brain, crosses the blood-brain barrier. So if you're not happy, or if your spouse is not happy with you, give her some activated B6. Maybe you'll look prettier. It has the folate, but it's the metfolin. That's the L5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. That's the good stuff. And then it has the B12, which is methylcobalamin. That's the good stuff. And it has like 41,000% of the RDA. This stuff will kick butt and take names. You do one a day, maybe 2. Don't take it at 3 to 5 in the afternoon because you will have too much energy. Most people won't sleep. It is super, super popular. And those are the things that feed the brain as well as energy, as well as the neurotransmitters to make you healthier and happier.
What about GPC? You know, most people have not heard much about GPC. I know that's something that is in our stress response.
Yeah, glycerol phosphocholine. That is the best. You know, we've heard of phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylserine. They're really, really good for brain function. This GPC kicks butt in a good way. It's in the stress response. The people love the stress response. Janet will give a couple for today and a couple for tomorrow, and people come in and buy 2, 3, 4 bottles. It's also in our prenatal, which helps you build a healthier baby brain.
And we have it in a powder that's even stronger called Brain Vibrance. And then we now started carrying it in GPC liquid.
Which I take.
Yeah, I do too. You do 2 droppers of it in the morning. It tastes sweet. It tastes good.
I do 3.
He's an overachiever. But
only
that's
some things.
But between all of those things, it's like a really good deal. You know, and then there's little things that you can do with diet, right, as far as changing it. I know when we quit doing gluten, taking the gluten out, it was amazing how much better your memory was.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons why I promote keto, and that's just one of them because, and this goes back to a question Tara asked about Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes and insulin resistance. Yes, ma'am, Tara, it is. And for those of you that want a coach other than what we do, check out Tara at Wildly Primal. This girl can kick butt and take names. She's absolutely awesome. And yes, it's type 3 diabetes. It's insulin resistance, it's inflammation, it's oxidations, and some of these symptoms can be very, very subtle, but some of them are like scary, and we have a tendency to just dismiss it like facial blindness. You see somebody and don't recognize them, and I think, well, geez, I've seen thousands of patients. Should I have remembered that person? Decreasing mental clarity, especially later in the day, which goes back to your adrenals and cortisol. Decreasing interest in hobbies or reading, the inability to engage in complex conversations, so to speak, and the ADD, ADHD, which is a brain thing also. Decreasing ability to recall what you read, and some people say, no, I don't want to read. I just had a pharmacist say, nope. Didn't read when I was in pharmacy school. I just listened. It's like, oh, God, people that don't read scare the heck out of me. Decreasing vocabulary. It's like, I throw in a big word once in a while. Mixing up words. Now, I've got to say, I take a little offense to that because Janet's just cute as she can be. She mixes up words, and that's just part of who she is. She says skating on thin water the other day, and then she said something about it wasn't treading water, it was something else. And it's like, oh, she is so cute. But that's not dementia.
It's genetic.
Generic or something.
We're talking about that kind of thing, you know. I'm going to work some of these questions in here. And if you're wondering how you can ask questions, you can do it on our website at greenwisdomhealth.com. There's actually a form there that you can submit, or you can be a member of Dr. Lewis's Shooting Straight with Dr. Lewis on Facebook. A lot of people ask questions there, but we had one that wrote in on the website. His name was Nick, and he wanted to know what's good eating. And I think, you know, when this question came in, it came in about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking he must have not been having good eating when he was doing it, and that's why he was asking.
And sleep disruption's one of the possibilities with dementia and Alzheimer's, too.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So when you're talking about Alzheimer's and dementia, what is good eating? What things should you be avoiding to take out of your diet, trying to keep everything healthier?
Well, I got excommunicated from part of my family for talking about veganism, and I've seen dozens and dozens of vegans labs, and some people love being a vegan. It's okay with me if you want to do that. I still love you and respect you, but I think keto's the way to go. Higher fat, needs to be good fat, moderate protein, and then lots and lots of the good low glycemic veggies. And I told a really good guy down in Florida, I said, just get you a keto book and just follow it. Just do this, and this. And your brain generally comes back because guess what your brain's made out of? Fat.
Well, and so Nick, thank you for that question. Maybe you learned a little something there. And talking about veganism, there was another question that we had about a movie that was called Game Changers about plant-based eating. And I think it was called GameChangersMovie.com, and it completely blew Lisa away because the movie focused completely opposite of how they were eating.
And her and Vic are really good looking.
Yeah, they were eating like mainly like keto, no grains, low carbs. And she's wanting to know, what do you think about that? Do you think eating just plant-based diet, I guess, is the best way to go, or are they missing something?
I don't think it's good, and I just posted something that came from Tara Wiley Primal. I posted on Shooting Straight with Dr. Lewis. For goodness sake, get on there. There's a little bit of good information. Everybody can read research that kind of clarifies or supports what we choose to believe, but what really happens is the reason people go vegan and feel better is because they finally, are eating more and more vegetables, which is a good thing. But the problem is, in my opinion, animal products have a lot of nutrients that you really can't get out of fruits and vegetables. Now, Janet and I buy most of our meat from a farm that does it. It's pasture raised, it's clean, it's no antibiotics, it's no hormones. And it helps, but I think a varied diet is really, really good. I think you need to go high fat, and it's better to go clean fat. There's a dirty keto and a clean keto. I think clean's by far better for brain health and everything else, and for insulin resistance that Tara mentioned.
Okay, very good. And Lisa said that she loves having you on speed dial, by the way, because that is the one good thing with these questions is you get to ask these questions and have a doctor answer them for you without the fee. So,
well, let me beat you up a little bit, Lisa. Well, number one, let me apologize. I was up in Custer, South Dakota, and I didn't realize that Lisa and Vic lived there. It's like, oh, good Lord, I'd have taken you to lunch and then some. So I apologize for being an idiot. I really wish I could have met you, but Janet and I were driving across Colorado 2 or 3 years ago. Again, I don't do time real well. It might have been 4 or 5 years ago. And Lisa wrote me a real long email, and I was like, oh, geez, I don't want to type that much. And I emailed her back. I said, here's my cell phone number. Call me between this time and this time because I'm going through Colorado. Lisa, it's okay to call me, please. Yeah, you can have me on speed dial if you want, but Lisa's one of the ones that not only she will not abuse it, she doesn't use it as much. Same thing with Rob up in Lake Orion, Michigan. Call me, Rob.
And then a question back that has got to do with this show. Crystal said her mother has Alzheimer's, and she's followed the Dr. Bredesen's diet to help slow it down. And as a family, we've read a few reports about that diabetes, genetics, and medications such as metformin contribute to decline in a person with the disease. Can you elaborate on anything about the drug and research about this? So that goes back to some of those medications we were talking about that's actually making some of this a little bit worse, even though it's supposed to be helping something else, right?
Yeah, and not being an MD, I'm not going to get too deep into it. There's always a side effect of a drug, even if it's a simple aspirin a day. But metformin can help with the high blood sugar and the inflammation that causes that. There's always a trade-off, and talk to your medical doctor about that. The book she's talking about is called The End of Alzheimer's by Dr. Dale Bredesen, and I think it's an absolutely very well-written book. It's pretty deep, and the list, he's got 56 things you've got to check on. And I could name on 15, and we do it all the time, and some of the other ones are above my head. But it's a good book, but all I can tell you is we got that covered. You don't have to overthink this. Keep it simple. But here's the thing. Functional medicine is trying to get more and more popular for about the last 20 years, but it's people like Jeffrey Bland, David Jones, Perlmutter, Mark Hyman, Dr. Amen, they're writing books, and that's really, really good. You got to find somebody that knows what they're doing and can do it, keep it simple, keep it easy, and that's where Janet and I come in.
Good. So thank you for that question. And then Jonathan had another one about dementia. He just got back from a funeral for a brilliant doctor chemist who had dementia, that's really sad. He obviously used his brain extensively, yet he had this crippling disease. please comment on ways to strengthen the brain, feed the brain, whatever it needs to stay active. This is his biggest health fear because he's had numerous head injuries and was told head knocks were a precursor to Alzheimer's. He also said, keep up the great work, Doctor and Janet. You guys are great. Love you, Jonathan. We'll see if we can't give you some good advice here.
Yeah, he's fun to talk to. Yeah, I've had a bunch of stupid head knocks because I went through the windshield, I fell off a roof, I've been shot, and da-da-da-da-da. But you're not doomed to that. I'm telling you, the thing that's missing in today's society is we have stinking thinking. And I'm going to preempt this. I'm going to jump the gun here because there's a question about what would you do for coronavirus. I'm telling you, anybody that is a fear monger, you need to stay the heck away from them because there's a scripture in Timothy that says, for God didn't give you a spirit of fear, but one of power, of love, and of sound mind. We can think it, create it, speak it into existence. So throw in the good fish oil, throw in the B12, the folinic acid, the good folate, throw in activated B6, etc., etc.
And the probiotics. Don't the probiotics make a huge difference? Because I know gut health has got a lot to do with your cloudy thinking or...
Yes, absolutely. Probiotics, we're getting better and better, and we've got probiotics that are so good that actually we're into a lot of things we don't have permission to talk about. The ones that trust us get pretty incredible results. The ones that do, it's not what you know, it's what you do. So, folks, if you're listening and not doing anything, you might as well go watch cartoons. Do something right.
And since you got off on the coronavirus, we're going to address this because I know a lot of people are in fear over this because now it's beginning to hit home here. Brian would like to know how you could prepare for the coronavirus, what supplements or other things will help combat the virus. We have to tread very lightly here, but we're going to tell you things that help keep the immune system up, and we're going to tell you natural things that help with viral things. So maybe you could mention our really great colloidal silver.
Colloidal silver is not all the same. Mm-hmm. I've never been a fan of colloidal silver because it will kill the good bacteria. Guess what? We have one that does not, and I've talked to the inventor / CEO, the head scientist, the big kahuna. He says our silver will not kill the probiotics. There's 3 separate, independent university studies, and all of them prove that it does not kill the probiotics, but it kills the pathogenic organisms, and none of us know why. And this is coming from the big kahuna. It's called ASAP-HCP, Health Max 30. The issue is, and we've got gut stuff for better immune response. We have so much, and believe it or not, this stuff is 10, 20, 30 years ahead of the curve of most of what's going on. We have a limited supply, and yes, some people are saying it's going to be a big deal, although I'm not one to succumb to fear. Now, I don't want somebody with coronavirus to cough in my face, but I'm doing stuff to strengthen my immune system.
We do immune essentials. We have something called...
look up those mushrooms. Google them, and then they're all put in immune essentials.
And then we have something called Vira Pro. We have another one coming in called Vira Protect. So there are Laura Seedon, that's another great one. Olive leaf. All of those things have natural antibiotic type properties to them. Laura Seedon, pay attention. Health Max 30, colloidal silver, pay attention. The stuff you're throwing into your GI tract, which is where most of your immune system is. Another thing I failed to mention on protecting the brain, we have something called Neuromag, which is magnesium L-threonate. It's the only magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier to bond with the aluminum and mercury and carry it out of your brain. It is awesome. Janet's been putting it in my drink, and I look, what in the heck are you doing? My memory's getting better. And she just grins. She does that with different things. She did it with the GPC also. It's like, my wife's always putting something in my drink, and
people say, but you let her mix your drink, she's going to poison you. I said, well, she ain't very good at that. So,
well, we don't want you ending up like that chemist that Jonathan just went to the funeral where he lost his mind and didn't have that anymore. We have to keep you around a long time to keep it fresh.
But using your brain is a wonderful, wonderful thing, but you also have to use yourself physically, because there's plenty of research that says, well, people that exercise and do this and this and this and this have lowered insulin resistance. So that was a really incredible question from Tara. Yes, you've got to take care of your mind, but you've got to take care of your body. You have to take care of your spirit also.
Very good. And if you're wondering, you need to make sure your immune system is up to par, especially if you're scared of this coronavirus coming through. And the best way to do that is through the lab. So you make sure everything's going like it should. Your adrenals, immune system, liver's doing great. Your trains are running through like they're supposed to. Go to our website at greenwisdomhealth.com. Click on the Health Survey tab and fill that out. It'll recommend a lab panel. Dr. Lewis generally calls you also, so you get a chance to speak with him as well. Please keep the questions coming in. We love them. They are helping everyone get well, and as a group together, we can all take care of each other. We hope you guys have a blessed week, and we'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You are only one step away from a life worth living.